Hello, good evening. Let me just.
It's Wednesday night and you're bored. You've got nothing better to do, and you love your rugby league. So it's time to get online for League of Inches.
Well, what a great way to start the show, guys. I had an amateur moment then. As I pressed the music intro, I had an email notification pop up on my screen and it just blocked me. So I couldn't hit the button that I was supposed to. Threw me. But here we are. We are back and you will see things look a little bit different tonight. Now, I'm not going to try and start anything or say anything that's not true because we're not that kind of show. But it's fair to say Jez and Adam have both been put on notice by the podcast, by the show after last week's episode got way out of hand. It was the sensory button apparently should have been used multiple number of times, we've been told. So we do apologize. But they will be back once they're out of the naughty corner. I'm sure of it. But on a serious note, Jez is out playing, I think, a game of soccer. So good luck to him. And Adam, I think he's had a few personal things to get done. So he'll be back bigger, better than ever next week. But me and Jesse just finished up doing a couple of Supercoach shows. Mika, I'm gonna actually no, Mika's doing some shares, so I'll wait for Mika. Jesse, you're ready to go.
Yep.
How's things, mate? Another week in rugby league. A lot of things have happened. The officials are apparently a big talking point, which we will get to. And your Roosters just doing the Roosters things.
Yeah, Roosters just winning games, which is great to see. Going in for bids on day for feeder, which is even better to see. Yeah, it's just been a week, really, hasn't it? I don't think there's too much controversy this week outside of the officials being nowhere, but the NRL don't seem to think so. So, it's a pretty divisive topic. I suppose we'll talk about it, but I feel like we talk about it every week. It's just a pain in the ass. Outside of that, it's just been cold, mate. Cold and rainy. I'm sick of it.
Apparently so. I mean, I'm hearing a lot of this from you guys. It's cold and stuff. And guys, the Subby giveaway is happening again this week. After last week, the winners became Subbies and 11 things for more reports. So make sure you're in the comments. Make sure you're being part of the show. Throughout the show, I'll be giving 5 lucky winners months free in Subby group, full access. No hidden anything about that. So can't wait to rip in. Mika, how's your week been? Let's get set straight into that. What caught your eye for this week?
Definitely referees and weather caught my eye. I'm sick of rugging up already. I hate the cold. I don't have any dry wood to start the fire. I've been going to work at 4:40 in the morning, so it's been even colder than I should be. So that was my non-work. But yeah, just the refs and stuff. We speak about it too much. I don't know what they do about it. They don't ever seem to want to fix it. I don't know how they fix it, but yeah, that's probably what caught my eye the most this weekend. I will say they were talking about the abuse to Casey Badger and stuff and how she lost the game, and a few people said she lost the game, which I think she did lose the game.
Hang on. We're
you want to talk about later? Right,
cool. Hang on, we're getting to it. Let's keep lighthearted for at least 2 or 3 minutes before we rip into the referees and the fallout so far.
Rewind. The thing that caught my eye was because it was probably the only big headlines in football was the refereeing. How about that?
Love that one. Jesse, what caught your eye this week?
I can't help but just completely mimic what Mika just said. My kids are going mad, being cooped up in the rain. My little boy's sick, so we can't go anywhere. I'm just over it. I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of wet weather footy too. Like, I want to just watch some quality footy, if you can get any at the moment. But it's just, in all aspects of the game, it's all gone to shit. The refs are rubbish. The Supercoach scores are unpredictable. The tipping last week was a shocker for me. I think it's the first bad week I've had. Yeah, just bring back the sun, please. I like the cold, to be honest. I prefer it to be cold, but when it's just bucketing down for 7 days straight, I'm like, I had enough. I had enough complaining too. No one wants to hear that. So,
to be fair, up in Queensland, we've had a bit of weather as well, but not as much as anywhere near Sydney. Andrew, I'm just going to say, if your missus isn't letting you watch League of Inches, is she really the right one? Because League of Inches should be priority on a Wednesday night. We all know that by now. We're all bored as shit. We're all coming on, having a good yarn about footy and getting fired up. So, and Ryan, this is one of the new members, guys. Love you being on the show. Love your comments. Keep them coming in. This could have been your debut tonight. The offer was open. We could have been having the big debut. But what caught my eye this week, guys, was got to go out a little bit on the weekend. Caught up with my old man who was up for a couple of days. Got to enjoy a couple of the feeds and that. And what I just really appreciated was just how good a steak is. I think I
Oh,
Yeah.
time just what a good steak does to you and just how it makes you feel. Like I just got the steak, got a great Diane sauce as well, which was on point. The chips and that, and I got some bit of mash as well. I did the double up. I got some chips and mash, the combination. But honestly, just so nice. It was a little bit cooler. Like it's nowhere near the temperature what it is down there for you guys. But just for us Queenslanders now, it is a little bit cool in the air. It's just great to have a steak. The footy was on the big screen. It was just a great combination.
How do you have your steak cooked?
Medium rare.
Fair enough.
if I'm out, I'll say medium because they never cook it how you ask for it. So if I say medium and it's a bit rare, I'll still eat it. If it's a little bit more cooked than medium, I'll still eat it. If you ask for medium rare and you get rare, it's like,
I always ask for rare, and they always overcook it. So
yeah, right.
if it comes out and it's on the cusp of being blue, I'm fine with it. To be fair, or if it's medium, like it's not coming.
Yeah.
It's not coming near me. But I'm a rare boy.
I did the same as you, Joel. I saw scrolling through my news feed some guy eating a steak challenge at some pub. And I said to Kira, that's it. We're going to the pub on the weekend. I need to get me a pub steak because I actually had, a Saturday night off work. So me and Kira and the girls went to the pub at Singo and it was a pretty damn good steak. That's for sure.
Beautiful.
Oh, I agree. Now, what everyone's here for, let's start to get a bit fired up here. And I'm going to throw to Mika first because we are going to start talking about the officials, the refereeing. And when I say that, the officials, I don't just mean the referees either because the bunkers involved with this. I think the game is involved with this now as well because they've allowed this to get to where it has. Because as Jesse sort of said at the start of the show, we have been speaking about this for a while now. This isn't something new. It's just for mine, it felt like it has continually crept into the game and more in a way. Mika, go to you first. You wanted to start to go, and I cut you off. So here's your chance now to go.
So I think what I was going to say was one of the things I saw the most about the Badger game was that she lost control of the game. Now, I was saying that about a game the week before, the Eels-Manly game, and I can't remember who the ref was. Might have been Atkins from memory. But that he had no control over that game. The ruck in that game for both sides was just shocking, right? So that the thing that I noticed was like, after that, everyone said she lost control of the game, and then it became about, she lost control, and then they were attacking her because she's female and stuff. I think the way they approached her on the field was definitely like you didn't see any of that with Atkins a week before, the way that they came aggressively at her and stuff. But I don't think she lost control of the game because she was a female. I just think the reffing at the moment is poor. Like I see refs of both sexes losing control of the game every week. But I definitely think the behaviour of the players is probably different. Like, I guess Clemmer was the example, but I've seen him stand over a ref before. But I just think it was there was a lot more of it in that game. I think they were right to hand out the punishments they did. But I don't think you should be talking to any official that way. I don't really bring sex into it. Like, you treat the ref with respect. I remember once years ago when my daughter was a bit younger, we were at the footy. It was at an Eels game. It might have been Combank, and I give the touchy a serve or the ref, whichever one. And I can't remember what I said, but within about half a second flat, my little daughter stood up and she's like, "Dad, you forgot to call him sir." And everyone cracked up. But she's always been taught like you, sir. The ref is sir or ma'am or whatever it is. So for me, the sex doesn't come into it. Like, you got to treat the refs with respect, and it was pretty poor from the players, despite the fact that I think the reffing is poor at the moment. It's not the way to go about it.
Yeah. On that point, so the way they just talk to referees, I do agree there. I think the players need to be better. I heard tonight on NRL 360 an interesting point. The captain's challenge. I think that's actually encouraged players to just continually go up to the ref straight away and be like, "I want to challenge a decision." That's what I'm like. We're actually in a way we've encouraged this behaviour to happen by the way the rules are now. It's supposed to only be the captain that gets to make these decisions, but it's clearly not. Like we're seeing it every week. Players just come up and the referee has to go, "Oh, who's your captain?" They're the one to make the decision. Blah blah blah. But Jesse, just in terms of the officiating at the moment, I believe it's at pretty much an all-time low. I don't get the argument here where I know that someone like Billy Slater came out the other day with his big spiel about if you're not going to be a referee, you can't basically criticize them and all that big spiel he had. I got to be honest, I don't really agree with the way he worded that because I don't think it's fair anymore. These are highly paid officials now. This isn't like this is down at the local park where they're basically volunteers doing it just to make sure the juniors get a game of rugby. These are highly paid professionals. They train day in, day out for this sort of stuff. And the fact that they're continually getting things so wrong. And as I said, it's not just the refs I'm talking about. I'm talking about the bunkers. Or the bunker is the one that I can't stand. But the thing is, the bunker now is referees. Like they just keep mixing it up. There's no actual proper bunker officials in the bunker, and there's no feels like proper reffing at the moment. Like it's just everyone's all over the shop, and it kind of feels like to me that's how the game is at the moment with their officiating. It's all over the shop.
Yeah, it really is too. Like we've obviously been talking about it for literally every episode for the last few weeks. And you're right too. Like they're professional referees. You're not just grabbing old mate's dad to run the line on a Sunday because you've run out of people. I was laughing at Adam's comment. Yeah, like they've been getting it wrong consistently too. And you are right about the captain's challenge basically making people run up to the ref in their face. And to that respect too, John Bateman was all up in Badger's face all game. And like I don't know if he wouldn't have done that if it was a man or not, but you don't really see it in too many other codes where they just staunch the ref. Whether or not they're trying to contest something or not, or they're challenging it, you don't see captain's challenges in other sports either. And they had to introduce that because the refs were getting it wrong so often. To the point where it's like the ref really doesn't make the decision at the end of the day. It's kind of the bunker does. So like it's not an easy job. I don't envy any referee out there in any sort of code, but they've been getting it pretty bad for quite a while now, and they're having to start standing people down to try and just get that quality back up. But I don't really know where it goes from here unless there's punishments getting laid out, and like you can't have teams rushing and surrounding a ref. And you get it in the Premier League and they get red carded and they're gone, and there's no tolerance for it. There is too much tolerance for getting all up in a ref's face now. I think if that changed, you wouldn't see it as often. There is a lot of disrespect to them, but at the same time, it's like the players are getting frustrated because the calls aren't going not even their way, but just not the correct way. I think when they look back at the games and they go, okay, we did get these things wrong, they're going to see a lot of things they got away with, and basically down to refereeing. And if they go, okay, shit, we got away with this one, like the other team's going to be doing the same thing week in, week out. I don't really know what to say about it. I feel like it's always going to be something that's going to be an issue. You're never going to get a perfect game unless it's completely unless you get an AI to ref the game and it's a full bunker thing. There's always going to be human error involved, but
I think
it's a lot of it.
I think the NRL is a lot to blame, though. Like as we spoke about the other week, how we're the only professional sport where the referees don't just ref; they manage and train during the game instead of just seeing a rule broken and going bang, rules broken, penalty or whatever, right? Now, for whatever reason that is. So there's the fact that they're talking to the players heaps, and look, do you get the feeling that the players, the way they carry on with the refs and each other, look, they're all friends after the game. The referees talk to the players a fair bit as they're walking off the field, and they see each other at functions and stuff. The NRL have kind of made the refs part of the playing group to some extent, instead of being separate and above and just people that call the rules. And I think unless you change that as a whole, then you're going to get the way players talk to and fro. And you hear refs get probably not as bad as players, but some refs, the way they talk to players sometimes probably not quite down the line either. So I think it's partly that's that whole feel of the playing group and the players. Like that's got a lot to do with it as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of frustration amongst everyone too because they change the rules every year. Like
Mm.
every year, there seems to be something that comes up, and it's the big thing for that particular year. I remember crusher tackles were huge at one point, and even just a slight, head like this in a tackle, someone's getting binned. I remember there was a round, I can't remember, was it Magic Round a couple of years ago, where there was just like
Yeah.
15 sin bins? And then obviously they had to rein it back, and it's like, well, how can you have consistency with one round you could bin 15 people and cost results for certain teams, and then 3 rounds later we go, oh, maybe we need to ease up on that. That's got to
Yeah.
make confusion amongst refs in general anyway. And they're like, well, what do we call if we don't know where things are going this way or this way? And I think that, again, would have to be, it's got to come down to the NRL in general.
I guess with all the
There's sorry, Viggo.
Right.
For mine, and just quick, a couple of giveaways already. So Donna and Leith, you've been getting involved quite a bit so far in this chat. As I keep getting involved, please message the page. You've got yourselves a free month in the subby group. So well done on that. Keep going with the comments, getting involved. You can win that month free in the subby group as well. But I think what you're saying, Mika, earlier about the fact that they're not just referees, they're on-field coaches in a way, could be playing a bit of a part to this. I don't want to make excuses for the referees because I do think they're doing a shithouse job when they're fully paid now, highly trained professionals. They're athletes as well. They should be doing a lot better. The fact that they've got constant voice in their ear, being the bunker, and the fact that they're constantly on the field talking to players about what to do, how to do it. When they're first grade players, they know exactly what to do, when to do it. They're just pushing the boundaries to see what they can get away with, and that's from the coach's mouth. They're doing what the coach tells them to do. So in a way, when it comes to that, I do feel sorry for them. I feel like they've been loaded up with so much that, as I say, I do genuinely feel for them there. But I want to start to move it now towards the bunker because we've just keep continually seeing so many errors from this thing that's supposed to improve our game, making it an absolute joke now. Like I'm talking about, let's go to the Knights game on the weekend. How that Dallin Watene-Zelezniak try wasn't awarded as a penalty try is actually beyond me. Like he literally tackles him in the air. If he didn't do that, Dallin literally falls on the ground and scores a try. There is no doubt about that. How they can somehow weasel their way out of that not being a penalty try is beyond me. I don't get it. It's I said I can feel for the referees in a way, but the bunker and being up there, they need to have a massive overhaul of this system. Theoretically, it could be the best thing that has happened to the game. It just seems like the NRL have no idea how to use it properly.
Whenever you have people that are referees in the bunker, you will have this issue. The issue isn't the bunker and the bunker process. It's the fact that you have the referees making the calls in the bunker that are the same referees that are making the wrong calls on the field. That's the issue. Now, the only way to make that better than what it is to get consistency, and that's to have one person in the bunker for every single game on the weekend or the year. That's just their job. That's 8 games of footy a weekend. That's what they do. You'll still get wrong calls because they're people and how they interpret the rules, but you shouldn't get as many howlers, and you will still get a lot less wrong calls that will be heavily scrutinized after the fact if you do away with the bunker completely. If we have no bunker, all the wrong calls will be times 5 to 10 worse, and they'll still be scrutinized the same way.
Yep.
Jesse,
Pretty much.
bunker.
That's pretty much it. Like, you need to just have someone consistent. If they're chopping and changing it every week and putting someone else in charge, then you're going to have a different interpretation of the rules every single time. Where if it's one person, uniform, they don't even need to beat the game. Like, you're literally watching it through a TV screen. You can be anywhere. Like, you can have one person do the entire weekend from home. Like, what's the problem there? They got every angle. They're not like they need to be at the field. You can do anything. I remember seeing a little clip last week of Josh Reynolds just talking about a game happening and things happening. Fuck, put him in there. Like, put anyone, an ex-player, someone who's got it still. You know what I mean? Like, there's plenty of them like that can do a job. If you have to get a ref to do it, I'm sure you can find someone else, a third party. But there were so many calls last week. Like that Dallin try, he almost even put that down. It was just slightly knocked on. There was the try, I can't remember who got it. where they almost compared it to Api Coruscant's knock on, where it was pretty well
Oh,
worse.
the
It was
Titans.
worse than
It was Sami's one. That was not a try. Like if they're not giving
Yeah.
Coruscant's one, how they gave
Exactly.
that is
Yeah, exactly. So like you're getting stuff like that. I remember seeing Drinkwater trying to get himself a penalty for obstruction, where normally, if any other time of the game it would have been, but when it's the 79th minute and the 55th second, all of a sudden it's not a penalty anymore because they could have gone for two. Things like that, you know what I mean? Like you just the rule's the rule. Like if it's a penalty at one point, it is at another point. If it's a no try one week and the same thing happens next week, it's still a no try. Whether or not someone else is ruling on it, yeah, you just need someone else in there.
I was surprised how many people I've spoke to didn't know about like with the Dallin try. You can't tackle an attacking player in the air anymore. You used to be able to try and defend a try that way. They changed that rule years ago. You can't touch anyone in the air.
I think
And
you can if
everyone-
it's on the in goal belt.
No, you can't touch. Even if you're a defending player, you can't tackle anyone in the air anymore. Because I remember when they changed that rule, I was like, well, that's stupid. Everyone's just going to kick the ball and send a player up. They'll catch it and they'll score because you can't stop them.
Yeah.
So
That's
whereas
pretty much it, really.
many years ago, you used to be able to, if they were, you could tackle an attacking player in the air. They changed it, I don't know, 5 years ago or more.
But that's the problem, isn't it? They continually keep changing things, and even players like today, like I honestly could say hand on my heart, if you went around and asked every player the rules of the NRL, no one would know every single rule. Like it's just impossible. It's just so hard because everything continually changes, and to be honest, the chat around it isn't great. So, but hey, in saying that, I think that the final talk about the referees is the fact that I think they are open to criticism, and I hate the fact that the genders thing did come into it because I don't think it was fair. I don't think it's fair to warrant that awkwardness in the conversation when it hasn't just been Casey Badger. It's been, as I said, building for a number of weeks now. It's just unfortunately that game, she literally lost complete control. I personally have said, and I will say it publicly, I don't think she can handle NRL level games at the moment. Where that was before this game even happened. I just felt like the games I've watched of her lately, she has been a little bit behind. Whether that's a confidence thing, what we're talking about with how much they're feeling the rest with. I do feel for her as well because she had two teams that are very fiery. They've got some fiery characters in their teams. They're both sort of playing for sheep stations in a way. That win was desperate for both clubs. They both would have put a pen down saying we could win this game. This is 2 points for us. And it was just one of those games that she didn't make calls early enough in that game to put the players on notice to make sure they knew she was the boss, not them. That's sort of where it comes down to, unfortunately. She should have pulled the trigger a lot earlier than she ended up doing. Like the Reed one, for instance, like quickly on Reed, he came literally sprinting in. We've been told forever third man in is a sin bin. And I know it was like right at the end of the game, so it doesn't really matter, but still, it's the precedence. Like he's been doing this now for 3-4 weeks. He continually niggles and starts stuff, and there's a melee. He'll sprint from the other side of the field to get involved. That he needs to sit down. Like he needed to sit down in that, and the fact that he didn't, it just the mixed messages is ridiculous.
I do find that I think Belinda Sharp definitely has a bit more authority about her, the way she speaks, and they seem to listen a bit more. But I can say that about male refs too. Like there's certain male refs I like that control the game a lot better than there's other people that just like, what is it? Klein. I don't know how he's the top ref. Like I don't think he's NRL standard. So it's nothing against the women. It's just if you're a bad ref, not if you're a bad ref. If you're having, because I feel like the refs still got this too. If you're having one of those ruts where they're losing control of games and they're missing some calls and stuff, like you just that ref regardless of whether you're a man or a woman.
Look, there's another issue in the game at the moment. It's the injuries. I want to have a bit of a chat about this and just see what I guess why is there something that we can actually point the finger on, or is it just bad luck? Is it unlucky? Is it because it's quite a lot of big names that are getting injured and are missing out? Is the game too fast? The changes of the rules to continually keep improving things and push the players and push the players? Has it caught up to this playing group that's currently playing in the NRL? Jesse, what can you put your finger on with this injuries? Because I think there's one thing everyone can agree on is that we don't like to see these stars out for these extended periods of time. It affects everyone.
Yeah, such a big portion of the game now is, damage limitation. Everything they're doing is to try and, better the well-being of the players, and it seems like they're getting injured more than ever. I don't know if it's just a change of form and technique, wet weather, fatigue, short turnarounds. Like, you can point the blame at anything, but the game's been pretty quick for a few years now. The six agains are obviously the big key factor to that, and then they've kind of dialed it back a little bit with the more penalties and kind of slowing it up if they can. 2021 was an insane year for it. But I just, like, you're always going to have injuries in this game. I just don't know whether it's got to do with, stuff happening in the club, whether it's, training personnel, or if they're overworked, or it's just a technique. It has to be about the technique half the time. And then half the rest of it would have to be on luck. I don't know. What do you reckon, Mickey? You're shaking your head.
Oh, it's just that comment he had up. Bring back the 5 meter rule. That'll never work with the modern game. Players are way too fast and way too fit. It'll be the worst football to watch ever. It's so different than when it was around back in the 80s.
Can I put something to you guys in terms of dealing with this on the field and in the game when it happens an injury? I'm not taking credit for this idea. It's Joel Kane, SCN Radio, that I've heard it on. His idea, and I actually love it, is to have a bench size of basically unlimited. You can have 20 guys on the bench if you want to, but you still only have your 8 interchanges. So let's say for the Broncos on the weekend who lost, let's say if it was Reynolds, he went down after 10 minutes. And if they have this Rogers guy sitting on the bench, instead of being so impacted that they've got to shift like a forward into, say, 5'8", Mem to halfback, and it completely changes everything, is it the right move moving forward to then just bring on their second choice halfback? The game continues to be the spectacle that the fans deserve it to be, because it's not just the Broncos in this situation that gets impacted. It's the fans as well as the people watching the game. It's the game as a whole. We've moved into the business side of things now. We're trying to sell a spectacle. If you're losing 2 or 3 players early, which we've seen in a number of games this year, it really impacts the quality of that game for the next 60 minutes, and it really becomes hard to sit through. Is there some value to that? Having those X amount of players on the bench, you still only have 8 interchanges, and you can change like a fullback to a fullback, for instance. You could have like Pappy, if he did his ankle on the weekend, Suafalungo was on the bench, he can go on and replace him. Mika?
No, I disagree. Teams will find a way to abuse it like they did with the HIA when it first come in. For me, part of rugby league is getting a good top 17 and a good bench and having to deal with the struggles of injury. I think that's why I liked the Origin, the year that we had COVID, where they had to pick a 30-man squad and stick with it, and it was changing players and managing the squad for the 3 games and whatever. I just think if a player gets injured and you just get to sub them out for another equal player, then it's kind of losing a bit of the toughness about it. And I definitely think teams will find a way to abuse it and take advantage of it.
Jesse, I've seen you nodding your head. I think you may be in agreement.
Yeah, I like it, to be honest, man. There's plenty of sports out there that have, massive benches, and, Premier League's a big one. Obviously, I'm very heavy in that soccer side of things, and, they can only have a handful of subs regardless of how many players they got on the bench. Half the guys aren't going to get out there. I think it opens a lot of doors up to a lot of youth as well. You can get some reserve grade guys out there. They probably have an idea that they're not going to get out on the field. Providing something happens, they might get their first run out. It's just a bit of experience for some players that realistically aren't really going to get much game time anyway. There's a chance they don't get any game time regardless. No one's going to be chopping and changing halves for no reason. I still feel like, predominantly you're going to be getting middle forward rotation. Your back line will stay where it is, providing there's no injuries. And it's a bit more flexibility than having one man left on the bench, no more interchange, the club getting battered to, oblivion. And it's just, I missed something, haven't I? Where are the chuckles at?
Oh, we address everything on this show live. We agree. We address it. Look, rugby league history. I love you supporting. Love you watching. He's clearly wanting Mika's attention because he's dropped Mika Martin about 20 times so far in this video. He clearly remembers him from something. Now, I'll say this: I know Mika Martin for the last little period. One of the nicest guys I reckon I've ever met. But Mika, is there any truth to this? Do you know this guy? Do you know who he is? Can you inform us, please?
I'd love to know his real name. It'd be like, yeah. My social media presence used to be very, very, very different than it is today. I used to not mind a bit of a banter and argument on Facebook and a bit of a rant. For many, many years now, though, I've had a very different way about my social media. I sort of just share pictures of me and my family and things that make people happy, and I don't get involved in any online I don't know what you'd call it, skullduggery. So if I did offend you, rugby league history, I'm very sorry. I'd love to know who you are. I don't think I ever said anything too offensive, but it was probably just disagreeing about Parramatta and how they're going about things, which seems to be a common theme even to this day, really.
And to be honest, I'll go into bat here for Mick, and not that he's on the page or anything, but he is very straightforward with his line of thought. Like there is no like trying to beat around the bush. You'll just say it how it is. So sometimes people can see that the wrong way or read it the wrong way. But yeah, it was small hang. Like, this is great. I love this live. So this is what we do the live shows for, guys. So you get involved in this sort of stuff.
I definitely never had the power of
bad thing. I do. Kick off one pay. Yeah, he's not an admin. He has never been.
I've never been an admin.
He doesn't do this.
I used to have a running battle with a bloke called Jerry Durnford in one of the Eels pages.
Your brother's back.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I ever personally attacked people or anything like that, but I just used to be a bit of a smart ass, and probably more of a smart ass than I should have been. I'm sorry,
back
rugby league
into
history.
No, he's a changed man anyway. He's a beautiful man now, beautiful soul. I want to ask Jesse the Warriors. I want to switch over to a couple of teams now and talk about. There's Jerry. We're getting this is going down a deep hole here. Trying to stick with it for the podcast. Since you listen later after this being a live show, I feel sorry for you at the last few minutes. The New Zealand Warriors, they just can't click. I have had them as my basically premiership favourites after Penrith since before a ball was kicked this year. I've always liked what I've seen from the Warriors, but it's getting to the point. I don't know, Ryan Goosey is a Warriors fan for League of Inches. He's watching, but I'm getting concerned. I am actually getting serious concerns about the Warriors. They've got so much quality on this football team. It's just they feel like they're not as free as they were last year. Like it feels like they've got some shackles on them.
I don't know what's going on with the Warriors, to be honest. They've lost games that they should have won. That's their problem. Like they come out quite well and they just can't seem to finish. It's kind of the problem that Manly's got at the moment too. Like they're not lacking any sort of attacking avenues. They're just either getting unlucky or dropping the ball or just not seeing out games, playing 60 minutes. They lost to the Titans at home on Anzac Day, completely unexpected. They've lost to the Knights by 4 points. Everything's been really close. Like they haven't been blown out of the park. So I'm not worried as far as it goes for, is it big issues at the club? There's other clubs out there getting done to nil. You know what I mean? It's just they're not winning the games that they probably should see out. The last month has been very unexpected for a lot of people too. I expected 4 wins straight out of those 4 games. They didn't even get one. And the quality is there in patches. It's just you just don't really see a great deal of it. They've been different since Metcalf got injured. Yes, I would say when Metcalf was there, they were winning. So, you can put it to that. Tamari Martin hasn't been terrible.
Yeah, but come on, Metcalf is a good player, but he's not like a heart and soul player for the Warriors.
No, like it's not because of Metcalf that they're losing games. I can't pinpoint it to one individual. They haven't been riddled with injuries as far as it goes. Yes, they lost Capewell. It's not the biggest loss in the world. He's barely been there for him. Barnett's a solid forward. I don't know. I don't know what's got to click for the Warriors. I think they're not far off it though. Like they've got the squad for it. They've seen, you've seen for a couple of, at least a year and a bit now that they can win a game. It's just a bad month.
Mika, I want you to answer this. No sitting on the fence here. Can the Warriors still, or will the Warriors make the top 8?
Yes.
Top
How's that?
4?
They're not sitting on the fence. Top 4. Where are they sitting on the ladder now?
14th or something.
Shit.
Nah,
Quite far.
not top
Something
4.
low.
I had them in my top 4 at the beginning of the year. I thought they would win most, if not all, their games at home.
Wow, they
I
are
can't
14th.
believe.
Fuck, I was a
Yeah,
guess.
14th.
I can't believe how far.
7 points.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, not top 4. I still think they'll make the 8. They'll click. They've got essentially the same teams they did last year. Luke Metcalf is a massive loss for him. His speed around the ruck, coming off SJ has been a pretty big thing they're missing, I reckon. So I still think they'll click. I still think they'll get there. They haven't been far off. It's just frustrating. I think they're just more frustrated at the moment.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, if Dallin gets that try, they probably don't lose that game.
But, all right. I'm going to say something here because I try to continue to be nice to the Warriors, and I feel like there's something that needs to be said. First of all, just a couple more giveaways for to become a Facebook subby. Please message the page after the show. Get you in for that free month in the group, and then you can decide if you continue on after that. The producer 05, I know you've been commenting on YouTube, but if you have a Facebook account, just send me a message. I'll organise it. Love the stuff you're getting involved with. And G-Man, if you can, send us a message after the show and get you into that Facebook subby group for the free month trial as well. But for the Warriors, look, let's be fair dinkum here. The Newcastle Knights were pongerless. They were frizzelless. They have not been playing good. They were led around the park by Jackson Hastings and Tyson Gamble, and they just got outplayed. And if we're being fair dinkum about the New Zealand Warriors this year, which most people thought they'd be having a very, very good year, if not better than what they did last year, the fact that they've lost the last 3 games that they have, that they were the first loss, the first win for the Titans this year. Let's not forget that at home. Again, they continue to get out to these good these good leads early in games. And it's like the players just think it's going to happen for them. It's going to come easy. They just literally looks like the whole team switches off and they just expect it to happen. Where if they're going to be the type of team that we've all predicted the Warriors to be this year, you can't be like that. You've got to be like the Storm would in that situation, or the Panthers, and literally pummel that team by 40. Like, you've got to just keep the foot on the throat, not worry about getting your star player injured or something like that. Just go, let's get this, and let's tear these teams apart. Like Newcastle, you can't be saying with the team that they had compared to the Warriors lineup that they should have been anywhere near the New Zealand Warriors on the weekend, but they beat them.
I think the Warriors are lucky that Parramatta and South are going so poorly because, I mean, they were in the prelim last year. So I reckon they'd have a lot more heat on them if it wasn't for the Eels and the Rabbits.
Fair point. You don't really speak about the Warriors being in a crisis, even though by right, 4 on the trot after coming off a pretty successful year with no answers to it.
Plus the teams that they lost to, like Tigers, Titans.
Dragons. They're pretty bad.
Should be more heat on them.
Yeah.
Adam gets a free subby because he's part of the League of Inches, but no one's taking up on that offer yet. So trust me, these minions I have here in League of Inches, I give them this free stuff. They bag me out. They don't give me anything. I give them it, and none of them take me up on the offer. So, boys, I'm telling you now, for those watching, if you're in part of the League of Inches crew, which these guys are, you're welcome on that group for free, and you don't take advantage of it. It's all good. I understand. I want to talk about one more team before we talk about something I forgot to put on the agenda, which is David Fafita, which we will talk to. I know everyone wants to know where we think he will end up. The Manly Seagulls as well, another team that consistently can get off to good starts and be mowed down. Now, how they lost on the weekend, I remember watching this game the day after, I think, and I remember sitting there just going, how have they lost? It was a start, and back half of the first half, and I'm thinking, I had to check my score because I'm going,
How do
they
you-
lost this game, didn't they?
Yeah.
I could not believe it. I literally could not believe that they lost this game. I still don't know how they did it because the start of the game, they were flying, absolutely flying. And then they just completely, once again, another team that just fell asleep at Brookvale as well, a place where they normally just put on a show. That they've beaten some quality teams there this year. They beat Penrith there this year, playing one of probably the best games that they've played as a club for 2, 3, 4 years. And then we got that. Mika, Manly, are they competition heavyweights or are they pretenders?
I, at the beginning of the year, had them finishing 9th or 10th based on the fact that they'll lose games through origin periods because of the players they'll lose. So I didn't have them in the top 8 anyway. I still think their defense isn't up where it needs to be a top team. And Turbo, for me, hasn't fired yet. Like, he had a shocker that Canberra game. He had 2 stone cold drops out the back on sweet plays. The last try that Hudson Young scored to win the match, Turbo was way out of position and just jogging over half-assed. Like, he's still struggling for me. So, no, they're about where I thought they'd be. Until they fix their defense, they're not going to be up there. I mean, look, let's face it. Parramatta would have beat them the other week if it wasn't for that Sevo brain snap. Like, we had no right to be leading them 4 tries to 3 with 3 minutes to go. 10 minutes to go. So I just, their defense, they leak a lot of points when they leak a lot of they leak a lot of points when they leak a lot of points. Yeah, you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Jesse, are they pretenders or have you got them as contenders this year?
I don't have them as contenders. I don't really consider Manly a contender outside of Turbo's form. I think they're so dependent on him playing well to win games that when he doesn't, they don't win games. It's as simple as that. You can look at that team as Turbo, Cherry Evans, Olakawatu now to an extent, and Garrick, and then the rest are just there, just to be there. Obviously, Luke Brooks is doing his part. There's a couple here and there, but none of them are really going to break the game like Turbo can. And when he's off, which is the second half of almost every single game this year, they seem to struggle. And it's always a second half thing for them. They come out the gates pretty good, did against the Dragons, and then they drop off. They're going to feel it without him through Origin. I honestly think they might need someone like Garrick to kind of kick him in the arse at fullback in those games where Turbo's out. Realistically, I don't really see him dropping too many more points than they probably would anyway, providing the teams they're fit. So he just hasn't looked good for a couple years. And I don't know what it is, it's not injury related. It's not fatigue. I think he's just lost a bit of pace. And this is kind of the Turbo that we have now, not the one from 3 years ago that just killed everyone. So, they can't see a game out.
I've got him on the pretenders list as well. I just think you can't lose a game like that on the weekend, and be considered contenders for this premiership. Let's talk about David Fafita. I did promise it. Lots of talks that apparently the decision gets made. I thought it was supposed to get made today, but it's tomorrow. But it has to be made before the ball's kicked off. Apparently, that's written in the contract. So he literally has less than 24 hours now to decide. It sounds like the Dragons are out of the race. They've decided to move on. Look, there's obviously then the Penrith Panthers, Jesse's Sydney Roosters, or stay at the Gold Coast Titans. Now, the Gold Coast Titans is for the most money. I think he's on there like almost 1.1 or something. I've been hearing today. Like he's on crazy money at the Gold Coast Titans. Yeah, something crazy. But then he goes and takes a significant pay cut to about $850. I say significant. Geez, that sounds nice to be on. $850 to live in Sydney though. So that's a much more expensive market to live in as well compared to the Gold Coast and the state of living. How he gets to live up here compared to down there. But in saying that, as he's a quality player, either of those teams he goes to, I have no doubt they are both already in premiership windows. Roosters obviously lose quite a number of players this year, so I'm interested to get Jesse's thoughts for a Roosters point of view. They're losing a lot of backs and a playmaker obviously in Luke Keary. I don't know if Fafita can play 6 or on the wing for him, but it's an interesting take to now go after a position where you're striving in at the moment for mine. Do you think the Roosters? Do you think this is them just trying to make a play and just make a statement to say, we're still the big dogs in the player market when it comes to these elite players, or do they genuinely need him?
No, not at all. They've already got so many forwards on rotation. It's definitely not someone they need to sign. But again, the second you put Dave Fafita in any team, they're a better team. So like you can't knock them for that. Their cap has opened up massively with the players that are leaving. But again, it's not a priority signing. Like they already have Crichton who's killing it. Ideally, and man, honestly, if you've got Crichton and Dave Fafita on each edge, and you're basically half expected to just win that year in everything. It's just ridiculous. They're insane. But at the same time, you've got both butchers. You've got Tupanua. You've got about 6 prop forwards as well that needs to rotate. So it's like it won't be good for him. It won't be good for him, I think, in his output because of the minute share. They need to focus on getting their back sorted, considering there's going to be about 2 left next year. I'd love to see it.
Can I ask
but
you this one?
realistically, I don't think it's going to happen.
You got the choice for only one of them. You either keep Crichton or you sign Dave Fafita. What call would you make?
Dave Fafita, long-term play.
I'd go Crichton. I don't think
I
Fafita's...
love what Crichton's doing now, honestly. If they just
Yeah.
can retain forever. But how old's Crichton compared to Fafita? I'm pretty sure Dave's young.
Is he? How old is he?
He looks
don't
about
know.
45, but I'm pretty sure he's only like early 20s.
Yeah. See, I don't think. Well, obviously, at 1.2 million,
He's
they haven't got his
24.
money worth, but
He's 24 years old.
$850,000 is a lot of money for an edge back row that hasn't really reached potential.
Crichton's 28. Yeah, but look at the teams he's been playing in.
Yeah,
it
that's
was,
true.
it was a very bad Broncos side, and he overperformed in that side. He was a standout. And then you put him in the Titans side, it's the only thing stopping him from getting the spoon every year.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So I think if you put him in a good side with good players,
He's essentially going to have the role that Kikau had at Penrith, isn't he?
well, probably more damaging. Kiko was a decoy almost every single play. So yeah, look, I love what Angus is doing, 100%. Like I wouldn't trade that for anything. But I think you're going to get more time. It just depends on how long he hangs around. It is the Roosters, but I reckon it'll be the Panthers. I reckon he wants that premiership.
How much is Crichton on money?
700 or so, 750.
Yeah, so it's kind of getting
I
similar.
think it's about that. Like, yeah, I think if Feeder does go, I think that means Crichton will leave and become a player that a lot of clubs will go after. Interesting where he ends up deciding to go, because from what I've heard, the French rugby club, I think it is that he was going to go to, looks like they're going to get relegated. So that means that contract, or if he does end up going there, it won't happen anymore. And apparently there's been a whole shift in what I was reading the other day. There's been a whole big shift in that player market over there where a lot more rugby players are actually available than what normally happens. So the appeal to get players like Crichton, who doesn't have like a current rugby background. I know he has played it ages ago, but not recently. That becomes less appealing because they want to get the actual rugby guys in. So it'd be interesting what happens for Crichton, because NRL clubs for mine at the moment, they'll be lining up for blocks away to get him. Would love Parramatta to be one of those clubs, but I'm not getting my hopes up with the state of the club at the moment and the people making the decisions there. But there's no doubt for mine. I'm expecting tomorrow the announcement to be he signs with Penrith Panthers, him and Cleary together. Just so scary. And when you start to feel like finally Penrith are becoming even with the pack at least and looking like they're beatable, to have that sort of combination now is going to just be so scary. Like it's just not looking forward to watching that.
They lose enough players every year that they're allowed to sign someone like that. Considering they're just a feeder club for everyone to retire right now. Everyone's just like, yeah, I'll take him. Thank you very much. Oh, Taruva, no worries, he's gone. Like they unearth all these players and they all just get picked apart. So they're going to have a lot of cash freed up actually after Fisher Harris is gone. And they've got players coming through too. Like they could play Lindsay Smith there perfectly, no dramas. There's just Fafita's so damaging, man. Anywhere that he goes, especially going to Penrith too, like far out. I suppose we'll find out in about 8 hours what happens, but yeah, it just makes a lot of sense.
Mika, is it Penrith for you as well?
Yeah, as soon as he started talking to them, I was like, that's where he's going. Like if you want to win a premiership at the moment and you got a chance to go to Penrith, that's where you're going, isn't it? Like I know the Roosters are going to be thereabouts with that roster, and you could talk about some other clubs, but yeah, he'll be at Penrith, no doubt. They don't miss. They get the players they want.
I agree. Let's have a look at some of a big game for mine this weekend. The game of the round, the blockbuster, first versus second. The Melbourne Storm up against the Cronulla Sharks down there at Amy Park on Saturday night. Now, bit of a storyline I feel like here, because the clear one is the Cronulla Sharks. Are they true proper contenders in this competition this year? They're sitting at the top. They finally get to play a test, so to speak, in the Melbourne Storm, a true test to see where they are at. Now, the thing is, Melbourne Storm are a bit depleted injury-wise. They're missing Pappenhausen, they're missing Jerome Hughes, so they become a lot more beatable. In saying that, Munster goes to halfback, has his hands on the ball a lot more, which is obviously dangerous whenever Origin's around the corner and Munster's in this kind of form that he's been in the last couple of weeks. It's dangerous to see him with the ball even more. Whether he can control the team at halfback, you know what, as Cameron Munster, I'm not even going to question him being able to do that. And then Suafalongo is a freak, so no doubt he'll do great stuff at the back. So Melbourne's still a very, very good side. Mika, this game, the Storm versus the Cronulla Sharks, who you got and why?
Melbourne, because Sharks can't play top teams. Every time they have, they get beat, as evident by them getting bounced out of the finals very quickly. Especially, it's down in Melbourne, isn't it? Yeah. I went Melbourne even with those players out. Munster will just sort of stand up a bit more. I know you've got massive raps on, excuse the pronunciation, is it Faalago?
Falongo,
yeah.
Yeah.
He's very Pappenhausen-esque anyway, so I think Melbourne will get it done.
It's there. The Stiffy's there, don't worry.
But
can I just quickly ask you, Mika? I know what you mentioned about the Sharks and they haven't proved themselves and things like that. I think they look a bit of a different team than last year, though. From what I know, they've still only versed easier teams, it's fair to say, and they've got to play a number of games at home and the like. But ever since, in a weird way, ever since Trindle has been suspended and stood down and getting the help that he needs, Hines has stood up, and it's just for mine taking the Cronulla Sharks to another level. Like, I feel like they've actually improved the last couple of weeks, where I just thought at the start of the year, the Trindle-Hines combination could be a good thing, but I just feel like it's now gotten even better. I know Trindle will finally come back into this team at some point. I'm just going to give the Sharkies a little bit of respect, because I do think they've changed their way that they play a little bit. There's starting to be some changes in the forward pack. We've seen Kyle Iro now on the back line as well, which is a great move. That means Talakai goes to the bench, which we've been calling for a long time. So Fitzy's starting to make some of those changes, which I think has made Cronulla Sharks a more dangerous side all around the football park.
Yeah, look, I'm not saying they haven't improved over the 3 or 4 years that they've been doing well, but I mean, this next month will show it. They've got a pretty gnarly run of games, but I just still think they can't get in the grind with the top teams that can. I just think they're all about attack and running. Jesus Christ.
That's a long time. I've got myself under probably 2 minutes.
Yeah, no, you're right. I do think they have improved it, but I still don't think they're there with the team like Melbourne at Melbourne.
Jesse, who you got and why for this one?
I would like to say the Sharks, just because they have looked good this year. But then I look back at the games they've played, and they've had the best, easiest run that you could have asked for. Every year. It does happen every year. And every time they play a top 8 side, they get pretty well belted. They get knocked out of finals pretty consistently. It's going to be a big test for them. Obviously, like they are playing really well. They do look a good side. Hines looks great, but if there's a team that can pick apart Hines, it's Melbourne. And I think, had it be anyone else, it might be a bit trickier. If it was the Roosters or Penrith or something, it's a different story. But he's playing Melbourne. Like they know him. They know his game. They know exactly what to do. And even with the players they've got out, like Falogo is going to do an absolute killing of a job. I near guarantee it. Obviously, he's not Pappenhausen, but man, Nico Hines replaced Pappenhausen and killed it. You know what I mean? Like they've just got this constant fallback rotation. Someone will come in and do a job. Munster will step up. Grant will probably do crazy amounts of shit there too. They're not very injury affected, the Sharks, so they don't have any excuses. If they lose this one, it'll be like, are we just going to see the same Sharks again? So obviously the pressure's on for them, probably more so. And the Storm are the favourites too. But I just think they get a job done. I think they've done it this year. They've done it against big teams, Storm already. Missing players, they've missed one or two players almost every round this year. So they can fight the adversity a bit harder, I reckon, than the Sharks can, especially at home. So yeah, I'm going to be going the Storm this week. But if I see the Sharks win, I want to see them win next week just to sort of lock them in a bit as a favourite. So.
Adam's on fire in the comments. He's loving life, Adam. Seriously, and I'm scared to say this next thing because we're getting to questions now, guys. So start getting them in. We like the unfooty related questions more than we like the footy questions. But get whatever you want in. Ask us. We'll give you 5 minutes of our time. I'm tipping the Melbourne Storm. I just like the fact that it's at Amy Park. But I'll tell you what, I think it's going to go right down to the wire. I think the Sharks will really make a statement in this game. And I think this is Nico Hines' biggest test in 12 months. And I'm talking back to that Origin game where he literally lost complete confidence in himself and his ability. He became a shell of the player he has been for that couple of years for the Sharks, and everyone could see it. He's finally got back to the form that warrants him getting selected in that New South Wales jersey, for my opinion, in the 6. While there's players like Moses out, I think he is the front runner at the moment. And I hope he goes there, makes a really good fist of this game and puts his best foot forward, because I think he's been fantastic the last few weeks. As I said, the Sharks gotten better since he's taken complete control of this team. So it's a really, really good test. Let's see. I'm not going to Adam's question. You can come up with another one, Adam, and I will answer something else if you can be semi responsible. While the questions continue to come in quickly, I'll give just a reminder for the ones I've given out the free subby tonight. So Donna Coombe, please message the page after this. Leith Holding, the producer 05. If you have Facebook, please let me know. I'll get you on. Oh shit! I've started 6 comments and I've said 5. Oh well, got to be a man of my word. G-Man, Paul Coulson, just because of your continued support on YouTube, you've been a subscriber on YouTube for a while now financially. So please message me. I'll help you out with that 1 month free. And Charlie SC has come in late and he's coming well. So thank you to everyone. You're all getting into that Facebook subby group for that free month trial. Just please message the page. So Charlie SC, what's your favorite bird? I don't know where he's going with this. Is this like a hidden message in here, or is it literally our favorite bird?
My favorite bird.
Jesse, you get to Mika. Actually, yeah, Mika, you take this where you want.
Please.
Go.
My favorite bird's my wife. Nah,
Beautiful.
if you're talking about actual birds, it'd be a magpie because they're badasses.
Fair.
I don't
They
mind
like
that.
eyes.
Awkward
They're a bit of a
silence.
shit bird, but
I don't mind it.
yeah,
Used to be
Fair.
petrified of them.
yeah, just constantly cover your eyes up, getting swooped, little bastards. African grey parrots. Incredible bird. They're about as smart as a 5-year-old child, and they can speak like 800 words. Insane. They're bloody expensive too. Yeah, they're a good-looking thing. Yeah, blue and yellow macaw. I'd happily drop $5,000 on a nice exotic bird though, and a parrot.
I'm going to go the old cockatoo. I'm just going to go the old fair income cockatoo. I remember, I feel like they're like extinct now. Like I've hardly seen one. And I remember back in the day when I was growing up, they're like everywhere. Every morning there'd be one just laughing at you. And now they're nowhere. I don't know what's happened to them, but bring them back. If anyone
Yeah.
out there has a bloody thingy-majiggy cockatoo,
Plenty around.
or what I say, kookaburra,
Yeah,
get
kookaburras are
them
great.
on. Get them on. So
They always go off.
we're up
8:30
to
basically every day. You hear
There's
'em.
heaps of
Clockwork. Don't know
Oh,
what it is,
please.
eh?
in-laws
Please.
have got one on their
Don't.
in-laws have got one on their
Don't.
farm, and it's an angry bit of gear.
Shane, are you guys giving the Dogs any chance at all? So I'm guessing he means against the Penrith Panthers. It's basically Penrith Panthers A grade versus Penrith Panthers B grade with the Bulldogs. But look, the Dogs have been playing good footy, but they're not up to the Penrith Panthers level, in my opinion. And Nathan Cleary back on deck. I don't think it'll get like to a disrespectful scoreline, but I just think Penrith would be too classy.
If you're talking about the season instead of that game, then I don't give them a chance in the season either. Despite the fact they have improved, I just don't think they're in that top. I think there's like 3 teams that can win it. So
Oh, they're definitely not going to win, anything major. But I don't know. I reckon they give Penrith a hard time for at least, half the game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout at all, but I don't think it's going to be a walkover for Penrith. I'm happy to be proven wrong. But no, I don't think they're going to win.
Yeah. G-Man, 2 points behind, 5 minutes to go in the game. You're on the attack. You get a 6 again. Do you want to change it to a pen to tie it up, or basically continue to keep going and go for the win? Put your coach's hat on. You've already got a hat on, actually, Mika. I'm going to say, actually, you know what? I'll start first for us. I haven't done one yet.
Who are you playing?
I think you got to. If it's basically in front and it's a guaranteed 2 points, you take the 2 and you go back, reset, and you keep going. So not if it's the start of the game, though. Not like Parramatta do at the moment with Brad Arthur. They take the 2 and just stuff themselves up. I think we're all in agreement. So you take the 2, you get set, you get your big boppers fired up, and you get back up there and you kick the 1 point and you go for the 1 point glory. Take your hat off to that, Mickey, you sexy beast.
It's called the number 2.
Here you go, Andrew. What is something or somewhere to take a person on a date? What is something?
Somewhere or something to take a person on a date.
Go on, Mr. Lover, Jesse.
Oh, mate, I'm a shocker. Can't ask me for any bit of romance. God, if I let out all my secrets here, my wife will bloody kill me. Money. Take it to the museum. I love the museum. Makes you look cultured too.
Underrated.
Yeah, 100%. Always down for it. You always find new shit at a museum too. It's always a different experience every time. Can't really go wrong, and it's different. And then sushi. What a day.
Mika, you are Mr. Romantic. You've got that love bug in you. Take it away. Give Andrew some tips.
Me and my missus have been to way too many punk rock concerts together to count, and walks along the beach after dark, after a nice dinner.
Ooh, that's nice.
Basically, my missus is getting the works. We're getting on the couch. We're getting nice and ready to go for a huge Super Saturday of rugby league.
Oh,
we are
right.
getting
Yeah, that's
down
right.
and dirty into Super Saturday. So she loves it. Get the pizza out at about 5:30. The pizza order goes in, and that's the romantic level at the moment. So that's what happens when you got a bub in the household, guys. There's not much time for this romantic stuff at the moment. Here we go. Adam's actually come up with a sensible quote. Are you feeling okay, Adam? If you could sign any player in their prime to your team, who would it be? I mean, there's a double-edged sword to this question because my answer...
It's illegal.
I guess. Well, I don't think it is. Like, I'm going to go out and say, I don't know why the stigma is there. Like, yes, you don't want to talk about what he's done now and where he is. But the fact of the matter is Jared Hayne on his day was probably the best rugby league player to ever play the game on his
Yeah.
day. Like he came up with stuff that I personally have never ever seen in a football field. I'll go on a story. My pa, obviously, a lot of people know by now, played for Parramatta back in the late 40s through a little bit. So he's seen players from all eras. And I remember him telling me when Hayne was playing and stuff that he was basically a player he has never seen before with those sorts of skills. Like he goes, he's a one of a kind player. Like he was that special. So I know not supporting anything he has done off the field, not supporting where he is, what he's doing, the like, but on the field, if that's what we're talking about, I think Jared Hayne would be the player I'd bring into a Parramatta team. Like I feel like if we had him for that Penrith grand final, who knows? It could have been a different story. That confidence level goes up with the players having that star factor there. But yeah, who knows? Mika?
Yeah, he was in my time of watching rugby league. He's probably the most. You're right, complete. But some of the stuff he did. But honestly, if I had to make a proper smart decision, I'd probably go maybe Brett Kenny. Probably Brett Kenny. Cam Smith's another good one. Yeah, probably Kenny. Brett Kenny. I'd go Brett Kenny.
Jesse?
You said Hayne. Ben Barber? 2012?
Yeah.
If we're going to go to one individual season.
I don't mind
insane.
it.
Yeah, look, there's been guns out there. And immediately when that question got answered, the first thing I thought was, yeah, Jared Hayne straight off the bat. You know what I mean? And you obviously were in the exact same mindset too. If you're going for an individual performance for a particular season at their peak, it's very hard to look past that, isn't it?
Yeah. Especially if you get into play like that.
I
week in, week
agree.
out.
That's all we've got time for, guys. I reckon that is it. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the constant comments for the show. I know we've had 2 big outs tonight, but the show I feel like has been a good one. It's been right up there. You guys have helped make that what it is tonight by being involved heavily in the comments, bagging officials, bagging injured players, come out with crazy ideas to try and solve things and calling out teams for being pretenders. So we've had it all this show. But thank you, everyone, once again. Please continue to help support the page. Become a subbie if you haven't already. It's only $2.99 a month. If you're one of those winners, please message the page. I'll organize that free month for you. Otherwise, become a YouTube subscriber, like the page, get involved with all the comments, etc. But thank you for now. Have a great night. Thank you for watching. Mika, Jesse, thank you again. We will see everyone again. And guys, I promise you, Sunday we'll be back. We are doing the Sunday shows again. We've had a lot of people reach out. Sorry, the last couple of weeks have been flat out. We are back on Sunday for a review show. Who is with me? No idea. If it's just me, it has to be just me. But I'll see you all Sunday night.